So we're we're one of 9 regional economic development organizations in the state of Wisconsin. We cover 8 counties, so that includes Dane County and the counties that surround it, of course, being Sauk, Columbia, Dodge, Jefferson, Rock, Green, and Iowa County. And we first stumbled across what you're going to hear about today, which is called Inspire. Several years ago now, when we went out and we talked with a number of businesses and asked them, what one of their workforce development concerns was. And so many businesses stated that they wanted to have a greater connection to their local educators. And they wanted to play a role in helping to grow the upcoming workforce. And when we spoke to educators, we heard much the same story, only in reverse. They wanted to have a closer relationship with businesses in their community and in surrounding communities. But unfortunately, both sides didn't really know how to connect with each other. And with very rare exception, there were a couple school districts and communities that were doing that, but most of them weren't in our region. And we cover 63 different school districts. And we wanted to come up with a solution and play a role in connecting businesses to their local education institutions, and ideally to get high school students into places of work while they were still in their communities. So looking at job shadows and internships and that sort of thing. And that's when we became aware of this program called Inspire. And what Inspire is really, it's a platform, a software platform that connects kids to career-based learning experiences. And when we first came across it, it was a component in what was then known as career cruising. And career cruising is itself, we'll call that the parent program. They were a career exploration program that high school students and junior high school students could sign into, and as its name suggests, cruise around and look at different careers that they might be interested in after they left high school. And Inspire was a component in that, and career cruising allowed students to explore careers, and then Inspire was that tool, that platform that then connected them to businesses in their own community that might offer internships so they could take their career exploration a step further. So the individual you hear from soon is Adrian Crabb, who's been with us now for a few years, specifically as a consultant working with Inspire. Adrian and I went out to the school districts throughout our entire 8-county region and said, hey, there's this great tool that's available that will help you with your academic and career planning. It will help make students aware of career opportunities that are available. And on top of that, once they determine things that they're interested in, we'll help you get those students into places of work so they can really see if that's a good fit for them. So we did that. We recruited hundreds of companies and hundreds of career coaches or mentors to be on the platform. And we recruited all of our school districts to be a part of this. As time went on, it became even easier because the state of Wisconsin began paying for career cruising and making it available in all of our school districts. Then we came to 2019, and 2019 proved to be a challenging year. Career cruising went through a complete rewrite and turned into Zello, and many of you may have heard that term now, Zello. So when you hear Zello, think career cruising 2.0, because that's essentially what it is. And Zello was much more user-friendly to our students, and it had a whole lot of very positive reviews and continues to. However, it didn't have all the connections that we had become accustomed to as far as working with businesses. So we asked Zello to go back to the drawing board and to bring back a number of components that would tie our students back to those career opportunities at businesses. And I bring this up because that happened all through the fall of 2019 and into the beginning of 2020, and then a pandemic hit. And when that happened, as you all know, it was hard enough to get employees in places of work, let alone get students into places of work. So we've dealt with that situation now for 18 months. And here we are in the fall of 2021. And we're doing our best moving forward this academic year to get students back into places of work when it's safe, so that they can again go and do job shadows and do internships and have other opportunities to understand if what they're interested in, what they believe they're interested in, will be a good fit for them once they leave high school. And there's many reasons we do this. Obviously, it's to get a jump start on career exploration and development. But also we give our students an idea of if they develop an idea of what it is they want to do while they're still in high school, then maybe they'll spend a year or two less kind of wandering in the wilderness when it comes to going to college and trying to decide what they want to do. Less time in college means less student debt. It means speeding them into the workforce, but speeding them into a workforce in a job that they have decided that they really want to do. So there's a lot of advantages to this, and we're still all in on the program, on Zello, and the Inspire component that's within it. We're just looking for that opportunity to get students back into places of work. So it's an opportunity for businesses to build their future workforce. Now, this is not really for filling immediate positions. That's not what it's for. This is just an opportunity to build your workforce and really to cater to a captive audience while they're still in high school. And if they choose to go off to college, there's a greater chance that they're going to come back to your community if they already have existing ties with businesses because they served as interns or did job shadows and that sort of thing. So having said all that, I'm going to bring on Adrian Crabb. Adrian really is the guru for us when it comes to the platform and connecting students to businesses. And really here, we want to show you what the platform is all about and talk to you about what roles you can play as businesses in connecting to students. So we'll turn it over to Adrian.
Thank you, Gene, and thanks everyone for coming today, and for Tracy for helping organize this. And Gene, that was an excellent introduction there to the whole situation of Inspire and what we're doing here. I want to start out quickly with just a few slides, and then we're going to go into a short demonstration of the Zello platform. And we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers. And we'll also show you kind of what our service offerings are and how you can be participating in Inspire to help build your future workforce. I am curious, and you can maybe just answer in the chat box, but how many of the people that are here today have faced some kind of trouble hiring people or finding the right workers for the positions that you have open? And if you could just maybe put that in the chat box just to get a little bit of an idea. We don't have to like raise hands one by one or anything, but just curious always to hear from everyone what they're facing, if there's problems that you've been dealing with. I know that across most industries there are issues with that. So I'm going to start with this slideshow here, and trouble in the workforce. And probably a lot of you can relate with these different issues, but you know, why is there trouble in the workforce? And there's numerous different ones, but some of the main factors that we come across are retiring workforce, not enough people to replace that, the skills gap, people that are applying maybe not having the right skill sets. So there's some training that would need to go into that, into hiring those individuals. And one of the big ones that we see is really a lack of awareness among the potential workforce and the future workforce coming up, not really knowing or understanding what is available in their communities. And that's one of the things that Inspire aims to address is, what are the opportunities in your community? And how can we make sure that those opportunities get in front of the young people that are coming up through the school system so that they can actually make a decision and understand that there are things that are available for them, even if they do go away to college or whatever they might do. Knowing that there are things that are viable career paths in their community is really helpful. And also, it can be very difficult to connect with educators and, of course, to connect with the future workforce. So how does Inspire help? So within this whole system, there are kind of a couple different components, and one are the tool sets relating to the Zello platform. And then there are the opportunities that MadREP offers and the services that we offer to help you connect with those schools, educators and teachers, and then the students. So, but we've got tools that will help you develop your pipeline in that way. And really ways to build relationships more easily in a more scalable way, where we become that intermediary group. When we've done surveys across the state, actually, we found that a lot of companies and schools want more connectivity. And there are certainly some pockets of excellence where that's happening, but it's difficult to scale that. There's not enough bandwidth on this business side or in the school side to make those connections happen in a seamless way. So there's also a chance for your employees to help develop the next generation of workers within your industry. And this slide is a little bit old. It's got an old picture of when it was career cruising, and I'll show you what the new system looks like. But essentially, in the Zello system itself, what we've got is employer profiles. So, and this is all in the context of when a student is actually going in and using the Zello platform, exploring careers. They can then jump into actually looking at what employers are offering. There's also online career coaches and what's called huddles. And the huddles are a section within Zello that allows for students to ask questions on different career topics and or about your company in specific. There's also career-based learning and some targeted messaging that we can do via our different outlets, our marketing, whether it's e-news or direct messaging to schools. And then also within the schools, we can send messages directly to students that might be interested in what you offer as a company. And as it was briefly mentioned, all of this kind of folds under this umbrella of academic and career planning. In 2017, that was when the ACP mandate kind of got its life, and all the schools, grades 6 through 12, had to create an academic and career planning program within their school. And Inspire enhances that, where academic and career planning is looking at how do we connect what's happening in your education with what you might do afterwards, having a little more intentionality behind that. And then this kind of takes it to that level where now they're not just exploring careers or taking classes, but they can actually find companies locally that offer those opportunities. And I'm actually going to jump out of here and go to another slide deck and make sure that we can see that too. I apologize for jumping around here a little bit. So what is academic career planning? I'm not going to go through all this, but again, it's 6 through 12. And it is a requirement for all school districts to do this. And it's, like it says, one of the points below, infusing career awareness, exploration, career development into the curriculum, including the use of technology and software that helps with the ACP requirements. And that's exactly what the Zello and Inspire platform does. So within Zello, students are exploring careers, looking at their different interests, taking some assessments, and choosing an educational plan that will go along with their ACP. And where Inspire intersects with that is that they're able to then find companies that offer those different opportunities. So for this example, a student takes some different assessments, and then there are some suggested directions that they might want to look, and they can dive in as far as they want with that. And then they will eventually be able to find, as they're looking at different types of careers, they'd be able to actually jump in and find those companies, find your company, hopefully. And then you can showcase what you offer. And here's some stats about the use of Zello across the state. When Inspire first started in 2015, at least in the Madison region, we had about maybe a third of the schools that were using Zello. And when they launched the ACP and they chose Career Cruising at the time, and then later Zello to be the software for that, we jumped to nearly 100%. So right now, I think it's like 97 or 98% of the schools across the entire state are using this platform. And the nice thing is if you participate in Inspire in any one of those locations where there's an Inspire deployment, students everywhere that have access to this in the state will be able to see your company profile. So it's really excellent. Again, Zello, what is the Inspire component? This is the company side of it. And this is where students, again, can look at your profile. They can learn about your business. You can post videos in your profile. You can post different jobs that you have, explain at an age appropriate level what your company does and why a student should be interested in your company and in your industry. And then there's other things like a student being able to jump into the huddles and where they can ask questions either about, what does it mean to be an electrical engineer or mechanical engineer? Why did you choose to be that as your profession? They can ask that question from people in your company that have decided to be career coaches. And we have a short process, background check that goes along with that. And then once that happens, then say one of your employees signs up and becomes a huddle coach or career coach. When the students ask the questions, then you will go in and be able to answer, they'll be able to go in and answer the question for that student. And I'll show you what that all looks like live a little bit here. Just giving in one example of a really excellent profile that we have out of Sheboygan County, actually in a different deployment, is the Kohler Company. And they've included different opportunities that they have for students, some Q&As about what their company offers. So they've really gone in and then even put in different videos that they think would be useful for a student to take a look at. And they get a lot of questions in their huddles. Here's a little snippet of some of the questions that have come through where students are asking questions about their company specific. It could also be that they're asking a question about, again, what does it mean to be a mechanical engineer or something along those lines. If one of your employees is working in that field and have indicated that they are willing to answer questions about that, then they can answer the question for the student that way. So question, how to create an online Inspire account. Since we're talking about the Madison region, you can go to inspiremadisonregion.org and actually jump out of here to show you on our website. Do a new share quickly. And hopefully that's working. Are you seeing my, the feeling I'm not on the right screen here?
What we
are you able to
is connecting education and
yeah, okay, good. We're on the right place then. So this is the Inspire Madison Region website. And in order to get signed up to be a participant in this, you would go in and go to the Get Involved tab and then Employers and Career Coaches. And if you scroll down a little ways, register now as a company. And then you go in and begin the registration process. Probably takes 15, 20 minutes to complete that. And I'll get in a little bit later into some of the different levels that you can join, but everyone is free to join this at a basic kind of free level. And you get certain features along with that. And then if you want additional services from MadREP, then there are different, like a tiered investment model that goes along with that. And I'll show a screenshot of what that looks like in a little bit. So it's pretty simple. You can learn a lot about Inspire right from our website here. I'm going to go back and go to the PowerPoint deck again real quickly. Make sure, are you back to my PowerPoint now?
yes, we are.
Okay, great. So yeah, so how to set up a profile. And I'll show you in a little while here what a live profile looks like, but some main points that I think are important to understand is when you set up your profile to write age targeted copy that will speak to your audience. Some companies will come in and just kind of copy and paste from their website, their HR page or careers page. I really recommend against doing that. One of the features or one of the services that we do offer and actually two of our different and paid service offerings is to help you write that copy, or if you write it, we'll kind of edit it and make sure that it goes along with the age audience. Also putting information in there that you think would be interesting, like what makes your company unique, what opportunities you might have for career-based learning. That's another word for work-based learning, training opportunities and jobs and other opportunities that you might have for students and educators. Because I think one of the best things that I've seen is where companies bring teachers in, whether it's over the summer or some other time, to actually kind of shadow someone in your company or like an externship for a teacher. And then they can go back into their classroom and talk about what that looks like, what it means to work in a manufacturing environment, for example. And we've had some great testimonials from teachers in different parts of the state that have done that and really learned a lot and been able to bring that back to the classroom and have a little more credibility with their students, even when they're saying, hey, you need to make sure you do these different things if you want to work in a field like this, because these are the requirements, but these are also some of the benefits that I'm seeing having been in that environment. Also including important links to websites and videos, utilize the HTML functions within Zello, where you can include headings and bullet points to organize your content, and adding as many careers to your company profile as you can. So if you're a manufacturing company, some companies will say, well, we hire these different types of engineers or technicians or, you know, machine operators or whatever, but you also probably have folks in finance or marketing, different things like that. And it's important to make sure you include those career types within your profile, because the more you have in there, the more likely a student will find you via a search. Say if they're looking at marketing and they find that your company hires people in marketing, now you've been in front of that student. Whereas if you only had the really industry specific things in your profile, they might not have found you that way. And also to definitely incorporate huddles and career-based learning experiences into your profile as well. Those are important things to do. This is just kind of a example of what you can do in the profile here, Sub-Zero Group. This is in Madison, Wisconsin. And you'll see kind of some of the things that they've offered in their profile where they're saying, hey, this is what we're actually looking for. These are the starting wages. We'll train you for this. And that's a lot better than kind of just a cut and paste information that you might have from your career page that's more aimed at adults. And again, adding your careers of interest. So you'll see here, and for Sub-Zero, they're adding, in this case, mostly people that are in that kind of industry specific area. And this is where I would say, you know, think more about your company holistically and what are some of the other career areas that you have in your company that you want students to know about. So you're casting a little bit of wider net, making sure that those students are able to see it. So interacting with students using the online portal, this is the huddles. And this is a question that we had January 2020. And it was, how will technology change this job? And this is actually in aeronautics, not in engineering per se, but and then can pilots fly in almost any weather? Kind of two-fold question there, but Greg from GB Jets went in and answered that question. And that's the same thing that would happen with you if you're a career coach. For the huddles, you get a notification, hey, you've got a new question from a student. You go into the system, answer the question. Probably takes 5 or 10 minutes to do that. But the impact you can have on a student in that context is actually really powerful, because you didn't have to leave your desk. They didn't have to leave their desk. They were anonymous and felt comfortable asking a question to someone who's a professional in the career that they're looking at, and that they know locally is answering the question. They can see where you work, so they can go back and look at your profile. And it's kind of like when you're, you know, if you imagine like a cruise ship going across the sea or some other large vessel, if you tack that just a little bit, you know, 1 or 2 degrees to the right, where that ship ends up is way different than if it had kept going straight. And that's the same thing with this. Even though it's a small interaction, that little encouragement in a direction can really change the course of someone. And they might go on to say, you know, I'd like to see if I can get a job shadow in this field, or maybe do an internship, or even look into something like youth apprenticeship. Or they find out that, you know, from the sounds of the answer, maybe this isn't so much for me. And then they've avoided going down a path that maybe would have just been a waste of time for them, which I think is equally as important. So when you go in and offer different opportunities, this is a really key thing that you can now do, is creating a specific opportunity. And there's a list of different types of opportunities we have, everything from being a guest speaker to youth apprenticeship. Guest speaking was actually extremely powerful and important last year, as you can imagine, as almost all students were in school virtually. And teachers were coming to me left and right asking, hey, I need more guest speakers for these classes to help keep students engaged. And I was able to connect them with companies that were offering guest speaking engagements via Inspire, and make sure that they were able to invite those teachers in. And we had a lot of success with that. So that's one opportunity. But being able to go in and actually create a customized opportunity for your company is what the idea is here. You can select the type of opportunity, you can name it, you can put a description in, and there are a number of other fields that are below the screen that if you were actually within the system, you'd be able to see to where you can add different criteria, like, you know, dates for application, is it paid or is it unpaid? what are some prerequisites that are required before you actually would offer this to someone. So there's a lot in there as well. They actually go in back to the website again and see career-based learning experiences. Are you seeing my website now?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. So this is kind of an overview of what the different career-based learning experiences that you can offer through the system, what they look like. And I think the names have changed slightly. They've, Zello has kind of standardized all the naming so that in any deployment, it would be the same, but this is essentially the same list. Anything from being a career mentor to providing a job shadow. These are the student-facing opportunities, youth apprenticeship or volunteer and service learning, co-op programs, summer part-time jobs. So like Jean said earlier, this is not so much about your immediate needs. However, the caveat to that is that we have a lot of companies that post summer part-time jobs and hire students directly for whether it's like, summer job or something that they can do after school. And I understand in a manufacturing environment, that's not always possible because of age requirements. But if you're looking at graduating seniors, certainly that's something that you could put in there, and not even as a summer part-time job, but maybe even a full-time job. And then the educator-facing opportunities, anything from being in a career fair to doing a company tour. And again, a really popular one last year and continuing this year is guest speaking. And then, as I mentioned earlier, teacher externships are also fairly popular, and I think are a really great way to get your information in front of students via their teacher. So all of that, once you go in and you sign up, you can kind of select these different things in terms of what you'd like to offer to students. And MadREP and myself will help you to make sure that your profile reflects that. So any questions at this point? I know I've been kind of going on here for a little while, so I just want to make sure that if there's any questions, I can address those now before I move on. I'm going to check the chat box here, and I had 8 people, everyone saying yes to my question earlier. So that's what I see across the board, is everyone having some trouble with developing their workforce.
Adrian, can you
yes.
just touch on like how access, how much access do high school students have to this? How often are they on it?
Great question. And really it is across the board. It's different in every school district, because even though there's that ACP requirement and the same tools available to every school, in Wisconsin, it's a locally controlled state. So that means that they can create a mandate, but the school districts have a lot of say in how that's actually implemented. So we have some school districts that their students have, various touch points throughout the year where they have to go into Zello and do this. Other schools are a little bit less intentional about it, but all of them use it to some level. And we've got pockets of excellence there as well. The great thing is that when they changed from Career Cruising over to Zello, we saw about a 25 to 30% bump in out of school use of Zello by students. Pardon me. And so what that means is that students were 25 to 30% more often going into use the Zello platform, not in school hours, which means that they're actually going to do this on their own, by their own volition. But right now, Jean, I don't know if you can, off the top of your head, how many students are in our region? Is around 70,000 that have access? I think it's about 70,000 students, 60 some school districts. So we get a lot of activity in here on the message boards and requests coming through. So yeah, does that answer your question, Tracy?
It does. I have another question. How widely used is it in Dodge County specifically with regard to the school districts?
We've had pretty good impact. Actually, some of our best schools are in Dodge County. So I can't remember off the top of my head all of the ones that are specifically great, but I know like Mayville and I believe Dodgeland High School. There are a few others that are pretty active in that area. In fact, I'll be with Scott from Dodgeland next week to kind of go over our reinvigorated Inspire with some of the new service offerings that I'll be covering in just a second here. So usage is good in Dodge County for sure.
Any idea how many companies in Dodge County are listed?
I have to go back and look. It was a decent number the last time I checked, but that was a little while ago. And I'm actually compiling a list right now for someone else. If you'd like me to send that to you when I have that list together, I could do that.
Awesome.
But certainly, we want more companies. I know that we've only really scratched the surface right now, but Mayville Engineering, Metalcraft, I believe John Deere is in Dodge County. So yeah, there are some bigger players over there too.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You bet. As far as cost structure goes, it varies throughout the state. In the Madison region, we have 3 options, as I mentioned earlier. There's the free option, which gives you access to certain features, and then there's like a basic, and then we had a COVID response. And the COVID response will probably be changing the name of that at some point, and maybe adding some different features into that as well. And the reason that we did that is because right as we were about to launch our tiered investment schedule, COVID hit. So it kind of put everyone back into their corners, and no one was doing anything. Students weren't going anywhere. So we wanted to respond with ways that would be more feasible using this technology. And so under that, we partnered up with Sheboygan County, and we offer a really excellent thing, which is the virtual career events. And we had a handful of companies that signed up for those and did just a great job. And the way that works is it's a professionally produced live Zoom event where students from around the state can sign up to participate in that. And they can look at different options. So every week there are different subjects covered. It might be healthcare one day, manufacturing another day, STEM another day, communications or marketing another day. And they can go in and they can actually select those different live events that they want to look at. And that was part of our COVID response. And then when that presentation happens, they're again professionally moderated. There's some activities in the beginning, and then you have about 30 minutes to do your presentation, and then there's some Q&A at the end. And those were extremely successful. When we did our first pilot of it in April of 2020, April through June, we went from in Sheboygan County, where they've been doing this a long time. They normally would serve around 1,500 students in an entire academic year, and it went to 3,000 students within 3 months that engaged in these targeted live events. So that was part of the COVID response package. As we hopefully get to a place where we can have more in-person events, we will add some additional services to what you're looking at here, which is our tiered investment schedule. And this is an annual investment. Again, there's a free option where you can have your profile, you can have the huddles, and for either a career and company, we do a background check for you. And they can also post your career-based learning. At the basic level, you can kind of look at the levels here for how much it would cost on an annual level for you, depending on your company size or full-time employees. And with that, we give you a lot more assistance with the design and development of your profile. We also will push back to you volunteer opportunities from school districts. We give you toolkit access. That's some materials that were developed by some professionals working in this field, how to build different work-based learning activities. And then we also help you recruit employees to become huddle coaches with that as well. The COVID response, or kind of like the premium package, we also will let you do the virtual career experience, and that can be done if you want to pay for that. You can do that separately, like a la carte, but it's included in the COVID response. And then the marketing package, we do logo placement in all of our publications, our social media promotions, and things of that nature. And then we also provide some more support and guidance on creating career-based learning experiences that will fit for your company. And this year, one of the things we're diving in, like right off the bat with, for some of the companies that are already on this COVID response package, are doing more responding to when students make a request for career-based learning. We'll respond to that and help make that connection happen, and also some matchmaking services. So if you are looking for hiring some students or some interns, or you want to do some type of an opportunity for students and educators, we'll actually help match that up with a school who has students that they've already identified that would be a good fit. And then vice versa, if a school is saying, hey, I've got a student here who's really would be good at X, Y, or Z, we'll go out and find a company that is good placement for that. So I'm going to stop again and see if you have any questions on that at all. And then I'm going to just go into Zello and show you quickly what that looks like in the live system. So again, there's two halves of this. It's really, they're kind of blend together. It's the Zello platform with your company profile, the huddles, and the career-based learning experiences that you can offer. And then from there are the services that we offer here to the companies, whether it's help in creating a career-based learning experience or hooking you up with different educators and students, doing a virtual career event or guest speaking event, and then yeah, helping with getting more of your employees engaged.
Not sure if you saw the question. Is there a nonprofit discount?
Yes, absolutely. We don't have that listed here because it's more of a case-by-case thing that we've done, but certainly if you've got a nonprofit, we would discuss that separately. It's the main website to look at for location near Fond du Lac. That is going to be, I can get you the information for that. I actually just had a conversation with the folks that are running the Fond du Lac deployment. It would be just outside of our area, so I can get you that information. I'm going to just type my email in here. So if you want to email me with that question, I would go ahead and respond with the contacts for that specific deployment. All right, I'm going to jump into Zello for a few minutes. Are you able to see the Zello screen now?
Yes, we can. Sorry.
Okay, perfect. So when students go into Zello, there's a lot that they can do. They can take their assessments, they can explore different options, they can look at, they can build out their goals and plans. There's a lot that goes into this. I'm going to jump in exploring options here right away. And if you look, you can a student can either go in and explore careers directly this way, and they can do some different filtering options to find the careers of their choice, or they can just type in at the top of the screen here, they can type in a keyword and then get a search that in that way. So say, just went into manufacturing, and then you can kind of look at the different careers that are falling under that career cluster. And a student can jump in from there and find a company by looking at a career. So if we looked at, let's see, mechanical engineering, let's see, where's that? It's hiding on me. I'm just going to go to the top, mechanical engineer. So mechanical engineer, once they're on this page here, they can rate it how they like the career. They can also save it into their profile and look at a job description. They can find some similar careers on the right, look at the career cluster that it's under, which is, this is exactly why I did not show up in that manufacturing section, but I know a lot of manufacturing companies do hire mechanical engineers. But looking at this, they can also then jump in and find the companies that are associated with that. You'll see some of their 154 companies within the system currently from across the state that hire mechanical engineers. Now, if I'm just going to see if we can find Kohler. Actually, I'm going to look at Sub-Zero's profile, and I showed you this earlier, but you kind of see what they've done on theirs. They've added some things that are relevant to who they're currently hiring. Again, you can put in links to videos. You can put in links to your career page if you want, so they can apply directly that way. You can also explain what your company does and why that would be interesting to a student. They've also got the huddles within this page as well, where students can ask questions. And then they're also offering different opportunities. They've got job shadows, co-op programs, informational interview, that they've got a few more, summer part-time job. And the students can click on that and then make that request. Now, the way that works is once a student makes a request, there's someone in their school that will take a look at that, and then me, and see the student has made a request. What do we need to do now to get them hooked up with this business? And so we either will make the contact ourselves on behalf of the student, or depending on where the student is at with their communication skills and everything like that, we may turn that over to them to make the contact directly. Once you've offered that, doesn't mean that you have to, once you've offered it within the system, doesn't mean you have to accept a request, but it's just that you will consider that request and see if that's going to work out with your schedule. And then it also shows different careers that they offer at this company. Now, if I were to go up and look at a different company, I'm going to use Kohler. The reason I want to show you this, because if you look at the careers they offer, I mean, this is, again, a huge company. So there's, by no means am I expecting your company to have this many careers, but if you look at, they've got custodians, they've got dispatcher, they've got an editor, you know, they've even got fitness instructors. I'm guessing they must have a gym there for their employees. So they've really broadened it out to show the breadth of opportunities that their, or different careers that their company actually offers. I want to look at one more thing here. Should go back to mechanical engineer. The bottom of this page, actually up a little higher. Here we go. So besides looking at the companies, the student can also go in and check out the huddles. So this student here at the top in May of this year, got a few replies to this one. Looks like, what colleges would someone suggest are good for getting a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering? And then we have Diane and John, and I think a couple others came in and actually answered that question. So take a few minutes, answer the question. And are there any online resources you'd recommend for helping a student with calculus? I like this question down here. What ways have you found made time management simpler to master? And this person said, hey, I use Eisenhower's urgent important principle. Is actually the first time I ever heard of it when I looked at this question and answer, but kind of an interesting thing there. So good information for a student. And the questions do vary in how detailed or articulate they are. So, you know, you spend as much time as you feel is necessary on answering that question. But again, a really good way to kind of give a student an initial look at your company and your industry. So I've got a couple of questions here. Can a student enter basic interest in on what they enjoy doing, and then we'll link them with certain careers? Yes, there is a functionality like that in Zello. And then do requests come to the company on the platform? We have to log in and look, or they come through an email notification. Actually, so when the requests come for like a career-based learning, they won't come directly to you. That'll be actually a teacher kind of fielding that request from a student to make sure that's kind of a vetting process. So they say, okay, Susie here made a request for a job shadow. I'm going to look at her prerequisite or the classes she's taking, maybe talk with her a little bit, and then, you know, decide if that's really a good opportunity for her, because we want to make sure that students, when they're coming over to you with a request, that the teachers feel that that would actually be a good fit before that request goes out. So you'd be contacted either directly by the student or by the educator or by myself to make that happen. As far as the huddle questions, those are all notifications that come to you, email notifications. So you don't have to log in and look. You'll get an email notification letting you know that there's a question there for you. So yeah, pretty much rounding up everything there is on this presentation to talk about. I'm curious if there are any other questions.
Did you see Jenny had added, understanding teachers have a lot on their plates and this requires them to be a gatekeeper. Does this cause any opportunities to get lost or not communicated?
Absolutely. And that's why, you know, at MadREP, we've seen that happen. So we are taking the charge and making sure that when we see a request come through, we're at least going to notify that teacher, say, hey, can you take a look at this? And we'll give it a little bit of time. If we see they haven't responded, then we will actually reach out directly to the teacher to make sure that they're able to see that and vet the student. That being said, in every school, there is kind of a set gatekeeper. So, but they're also like secondary gatekeepers. But the gatekeepers that we have are either work-based learning coordinators or counselors who are working with ACP. So they're usually people who are really involved in this exact area. It's not just like your history teacher or something like that. So it's usually someone who's ready to do that. It's just that, like you said, they've got a lot on their plate. So that's why we're, as an intermediary organization, coming in to take some of that off their plate and make sure that it still gets acted upon. Any other questions? I know we went through a lot here today. So if you do have other questions, I'll put my email address in here one more time in the chat box. If you want to copy that down,
Adrian,
please feel free to get a hold of me.
Yeah, if you could include the website link too on where to sign in. That
Absolutely. There it is.
Perfect. All right. Well, I want to thank you for joining us. Any little bit helps in seeking out new workforce and future workforce. I appreciate you spending your time with us. I did record this, and we'll make it available after probably tomorrow. I'll send it out.
Okay.
So, thank you so
Excellent.
much.
Yeah, and please reach out with any questions. I look forward to hearing from you. And thanks so much, Tracy, for organizing this.
You bet. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
You too. Bye.